Folk.
And how old are you?
I'm 18.
And what grade are you in?
I'm a senior, 12th grade.
Excellent. Okay. So, can you tell me 3 things about yourself?
3 things about myself. I guess I really cherish friends, one thing. I'm kind of a jokester, second thing. And the third thing, I guess, is going along with the jokester thing a little bit, is I can tell when it's time to be serious and really get down to work, so I can really differentiate my time that way.
That's great. That's really great. Tell me a little bit about your peers, about your peer group, and what kind of influence you feel like your friends have in your life.
Let's see. Well, I have some very close friends. I have 4 or 5 within my school that are very close. I would tell them anything, and vice versa. I also have a friend outside of school from my last school. They have a lot of influence because we tend to think alike, so generally when we talk to each other, we have a lot of the same things to say, but at the same time, when one of us differs, we want to hear what that differing opinion is because this person's like us. They must have the same type of train of thought as we do. So let's hear what they have to say because we might be wrong, if you will, or we would respect their opinion for that reason because we respect them as a friend.
Right.
So that's how my peers might influence me.
Right. Would you say that right now in your life, who has more influence, your peers or your parents?
I would have to say my peers, though my parents on an equal spectrum. My parents and I have a great relationship to the point where we're almost peers. It's not at all sort of a dictatorship at home. We work together a lot. I do some chores, they help me out. They help me pay car insurance and things like that. So it's a working relationship.
Right, right. Do you...
Yeah. Show part of the shirt.
Okay.
Do we need to go back or anything? Okay. So, do you feel like your parents and your peers influence you in different domains?
Let's see. Yes and no. My mother sort of is very open with me, and likewise me with her. So she sort of has the same influence as my peers might have on me because it's more of that sort of peer-to-peer relationship. But my father has more of a professional relationship with me. Sort of if I do something that I need to be punished for, or I do something bad in school and my parents have to be called, then he would sort of be the not the stern one, but he would be the more serious one. This is an issue. This has a problem. Whereas my mom might say, "Oh, I did that in college," or "I did that in high school," and everyone does that.
Right. Have they ever had to come to school?
They haven't, no.
Okay, good. Okay. Let's see. Tell me about conformity in your school. Do you feel pressure to conform in any way?
Do I feel pressure? Well, I entered the school in 10th grade, which is unconventional because usually people enter 9th grade in high school. But my last school entered after 9th grade and ended there, so I came in 10th grade. And so I felt sort of like I was out of the loop for at least the first little while. And as welcoming as the students were, I still found myself self-conscious and saying, wow, they're all doing this. Should I do this to be a little bit more accepted? Because, naturally when you're new in an environment, you try to not to ostracize yourself, certainly. It's bad enough if somebody says something about you and you feel ostracized by them. But likewise, you don't want to have that effect on yourself.
Right. What kinds of things were they doing that you felt like you would need to do as well? Do you remember?
To be quite frank, it was sort of a touchy-feeliness that was going on in the school. It was sort of not at all out of bounds, I would say, but it was just people would be hugging each other, maybe even giving each other a kiss, just they were very good friends, nothing more, as a matter of fact.
Males and males?
Males and females, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, but so I mean, obviously it was sort of sexually related, but there would be sort of no other sexual relationship between these students. But at the same time, it was there a little bit, and I was sort of wondering, oh, well, I guess that's okay in this environment. Should I do that? I mean, I guess that's okay with me, but I had no reason not to.
Right, right. But it was something new.
Absolutely.
Right. What about dating? Tell me about dating. What are the rules?
The rules of dating? Well, I've debated that with myself a lot. One thing I try to do is I try to sort of be classically chivalrous and pay for dinner and things like that. But I've been admonished for that, even by someone I was dating before, because, oh, you know, it's 21st century. Why don't you let me pay for some of the dinner too? It's different on a first date, but we've been going out for 3 months, so why don't you let me pay?
Are you comfortable with that?
I am, though at the same time I'm self-conscious that I should be paying, that I'm falling short somewhere. And again, I don't want to hurt myself in bringing myself down. It's bad enough if she sees something bad in me, but I don't want to hurt myself in that aspect by not living up to some standard that I should be.
Right. Okay, so back to the rules. You pay for dinner, you're chivalrous.
Sure.
Where do you go?
Man, usually sort of out to dinner and to the movies, nothing special. Something I used to like to do with my girlfriend is even just rent a movie, watch it on the couch at home, and just, you know, enjoy each other's company. So you don't really, you can talk in private, you can have your arm around her and vice versa, and, you know, not be embarrassed because it's in public. So it was a little more intimate, I guess you could say, at home.
Right. Let's see, let's talk about risk-taking behaviors like alcohol, drugs. Is that a part of your world?
Personally? Yes and no. I do enjoy trying new things. The other day I tried sushi. I had a big thing against it because supposedly there's a potential risk in eating raw fish. But I said, hey, what the heck? So I gave it a try. Didn't like it too much, but I had another. You know, why not? And I suppose you could, of course, apply that to drugs or drinking. I personally haven't, but under the right circumstances, I think I would. If we're in a not-so-dangerous situation, if I'm around with some of my very best friends, if there's a designated driver, certainly if there's somebody who's not drinking, so that if something goes wrong, they can take control of the situation, then I might try drinking and even drugs. But at the same time, there are bounds that you don't cross. I would never try heroin or cocaine because those more or less just do harm to you. Whereas the same goes for cigarettes. I've known that. I've had family members who've died from cigarette exposure, but I tried it, and not because, hey, I might like it, but I wanted to have the experience of trying it.
Do you think that drugs and alcohol are an issue with other people who are your age?
I think so. I notice a lot of my peers they might have troubled situations in one way or another, whether it's with their parents or boyfriend, girlfriend, life in general, and some of them do sort of idealize their fun time as getting drunk or high, and that certainly has its risks, but I think it definitely is prominent, I guess you could say, in a dangerous way.
Okay. What about AIDS? Do you think that AIDS has changed the behavior of teenagers?
Most teenagers, I don't think so. I think the masses, so to speak, are still far too ignorant about the dangers of AIDS especially, but other STDs as well. I know that I wasn't really concerned about it. Of course, I knew about it and I knew you could get it, etc., but I wasn't really concerned about it until I saw a video on TV about what happens to your body when you get AIDS, what you have to live with, the fact that a cold can kill you, what some people's lives were like when they gave testimonials of people who had AIDS, and it was horrendous.